So very quickly, for those who don't know us very well, we are a roughly 21-year-old business with a mission to make it easy to do business anywhere. By that, we mean for any business of any size, anywhere in the world, we want to help you to trade globally. This means from the very, very largest brands in the world right down to sole traders. Today, we have a very big focus on China and on Asia. But over the next decades, that focus will expand globally. So I'll talk a bit about, how do we make it easy to do business anywhere today? And the way we do that primarily is through, over the last 20 years, building up an ecosystem of different businesses which make it as easy as possible for companies to trade globally, and particularly to find success in China. So the businesses that we are quite famous for, and which have driven a lot of our success are these that you can see here. These are our core commerce businesses. Most of these are in China, the ones in the top row particularly, but you'll see with a business like Lazada, that's the leading e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia. AliExpress is tremendously popular around the world and really, really successful today already in Southern Europe. But the businesses that I think are most relevant today, and particularly for this audience, are those in the top row: Taobao, Tmall, and Tmall Global. Taobao is a real entry point to shopping for Chinese consumers. One statistic, I'll try not to hit you with too many statistics today, but one statistic that I would leave you with, because I think it's a really important way to understand how people shop in China versus how I shop in the UK and many of us shop in Europe or the US, is that the average Taobao customer, and there are around about 900 million monthly active users, but the average Taobao customer comes to us 9 times every day and spends between 25 and 30 minutes with us a day. And so if you think about that compared to how we shop here, how I shop here in the UK, I don't think there is a website, perhaps beyond Google, that I go to 9 times a day, 63 times a week. And the reason people do that and then come to Tmall, which is a shopping mall, Taobao Mall, which we operate online. The reason they come there is because they can find anything, billions of products, nearly all of the world's top brands. And this is really how you access shopping in China. So if you are a small business, you operate a store on Tmall, but also the world's largest brands, the primary way in which they engage with Chinese consumers is through their store on Tmall when it comes to e-commerce. So that is our commerce business. We also have an entertainment business, an arm. Youku is a video platform. We have a leading browser called UC Browser. We have a production company as well, but I won't talk about these businesses. But entertainment is very important to us. We have local services. Fliggy, which you can see here, is a way in which Chinese consumers will book their air travel, book hotels, book tickets to go and see museums and other tourist attractions. And we have hundreds of millions of users on this platform as well. Ele.me, in the top right there, will deliver your takeaways, your coffees, whatever else, to the office or to your home. So through all of these businesses, we're connecting to Chinese consumers multiple times a day and playing a really important role in their lives. And that helps brands from all over the world to connect to those consumers. But what we've also done is to build a backbone beneath that, which really helps you not only to connect to those consumers, but then to think about, well, how do I get my products in front of them? How do I take payment? How do I market? How do I actually get my products around the world? And to do that, we have Alipay, which is the world's leading digital payment player. Again, we have around 900 million users in China of Alipay. To give you a sense of how important it is in daily life, I would say it's the app I use the most when I'm in China. From getting off the plane, I will use it to book my taxi, to pay for goods when I'm there, to when I get to a hotel, I will use Alipay to check into the hotel, to order food in a restaurant, and so on and so on and so on. It's also very, very critical online. Tianyao is a logistics network getting goods into China and around China. Alimama is our data management and marketing platform. Very important if you think about those 9 daily visits that people make. We have consumers telling us a lot about what they want. Alimama helps brands to make sense of what consumers are telling them and then respond to that. And then we build all of this on cloud. So it's a very, very quick overview of Alibaba. It's created what is now the world's largest retail company. We have GMV on the platform over the last 12 months of over $1 trillion. It's important to understand that's not our revenue, it's the revenue of all of the brands, all of the businesses who sell on the platform. We have nearing 1 billion global customers on our platforms. And, I think many of you will be familiar with Singles Day, where we help businesses on the platform to turn over $74 billion in just 11 days. So it's created a very large business which really supports businesses like these, but actually millions more besides, all over the world, to connect to consumers and to trade globally. So hopefully you now understand Alibaba perfectly. If you didn't already, I know that's quite a lot to cover very briefly. But I wanted to talk a bit about, well, how are we viewing the world today? Right? What are we seeing more of? And through our eyes, perhaps the biggest and simplest change we've seen over the last year is that, and we've been seeing this for years, but it's accelerated, of course, across 2020, is that more people are online more often. And by that, I mean more people are coming online for the first time ever. So China, over the last year, has probably added roughly to its internet population, the population of the UK, right? So just more people coming online for the first time ever. But they're also spending more time online, right? The amount of time we will spend online just at events like this, or shopping, or consuming content, we're spending more time online. So how do we react to that? Well, we think there's 3 things that we need to do as Alibaba, but also as brands. The first, listen and react to customers. I'm going to hopefully demonstrate that customers tell you a lot when they're online. They give you a lot of signals, and there are a lot of ways you can react to that. Yes, through marketing, but also in terms of how you think about product. Second, create richer online experiences. How do you go beyond the efficiency of online and the speed of online and do something much richer for people who expect more the more time they spend online? And then third, we need to break down this false opposition between online and online. We hear a lot about a kind of competition between these 2 parts of our lives. And at Alibaba, we really do think about, how can you actually bring the best of those 2 things together to create better experiences, because we're really online all of the time anyway. So how do we do that? So quickly, listen and react to customers. What do I mean? I mean, coming back to 9 times a day that people come to Taobao, nearly half an hour a day on the platform. People are telling you a lot. They're searching for items. They are giving feedback on purchases. They're asking questions to customer service. They're telling you a lot about what they want, what they do and don't like. And of course, that means you can respond with marketing, right? We do that really well here. But what we think about more and more is, how do you use that data to innovate and to actually think about new products for your customers and new ways to connect to them? And so we have something which we call the Tmall Innovation Center. And we work with brands from all over the world with that innovation center to take our data and to take brand data, put them together, learn what consumers want, and actually create new products and experiences for China. And, we've done this hundreds of times now with some of the world's biggest brands, from Unilever to L'Oreal. But if I were to give you one example, which is my favorite purely in terms of how much I like the product and how much I eat of it when I'm in China, is this one, which is a spicy Snickers bar. So Mars was one of the first companies we worked with on this. They were selling Snickers actually on our platform. They were hearing from consumers, yes, we quite like it, but it doesn't really have the kind of bite and the flavor that we want as Chinese consumers. So they did some research with the Tmall Innovation Center. They listened to customers, and they came up with a, for Chinese consumers, Snickers bar. And from the first kind of engagement with the Innovation Center, that first kind of pull of data through to selling a bar was well under a year, right? They massively exceeded their sales expectations. The speed in terms of having a thought through to selling and then building the brand was incredibly quick, and with an innovation center like this, With the data we have and the way we can use it, we're able to pull down the time it takes for a brand to think of a new product and launch that new product and then get feedback and iterate. So this is one thing we think is really important. How do you listen to your customers, use all the rich data that's available to you, and then create new experiences which they will love? The second thing that I wanted to talk about then, create richer online experiences. Very basically, when I think about the e-commerce and the digital I see in China versus e-commerce and the digital I see here, the big difference I see is that it feels to me as though the e-commerce that I experience here is very efficient, right? I see a product, I choose a product, I put it in my basket, and I try and get out of there as quickly as possible. In China, people spend so much time online. There's such hyper-engaged consumers that they want more than that. So we've created richer online experiences. And I want to show you an example of that, which is live streaming. And live streaming has gone from a kind of interesting thing 2 years ago to a critical part of launching a brand today. And I'm just going to show you a quick video of that now.
Hello， 大家好，我是李佳琦阿斯。那我们今天的口红直播要开始喽！我是口红一哥，
我是口红大哥。今天给大家推荐一款国产。
那今天要给大家来推荐到的一支口红呢，是来自于我手上的这一支。首先我在我的手臂上给大家试一下颜色，它的顺滑度非常高，
我自己看了越看越舒服。大家记得买哦！
挑战失败。
So for those of you not familiar, Li Jiaqi is a lipstick brother. He's an incredibly famous influencer in China who can basically display hundreds of lipsticks a day to consumers. A live stream with him will get millions, if not tens of millions of viewers. So he's become critical to launching lipsticks. The guy on the right in the video there who failed the challenge, in case you didn't recognize him, is our founder, Jack Ma, who is good at building internet businesses, bad at live streaming. This has gone from really an interesting thing to do to now critical. So all of the brands we work with, particularly all the leading brands, will do a live streaming session for a product launch on 11/11, our big sales day, throughout the year. There are around 400 million consumers in China who watch live streams. 2/3 of them buy. So they demand really, really engaging, really, really exciting commerce experiences that go way beyond just see, click, buy. And that's really important, I think, for the engaged consumer. I just want to move on now to talk briefly about bringing the best of online to offline. And what I mean by this is I still feel like when we're talking about retail, we still talk so much about death of the high street, online versus online. How do we compare the two? And it's very natural, right? Because we had offline shopping, we've moved to online shopping somewhat, and we feel like there's replacement. And the way we're thinking about this is different, which is, how do we create new retail experiences which bring the best of online to offline, the best of offline to online, and hopefully give consumers an experience they want. So I'm just going to show a video silently while I talk over this, which hopefully will demonstrate what I'm talking about. So what you're going to see here is a store we call Fresh Hippo. And this is what we see as a supermarket of today, but a supermarket of the future as well in China. This format and this business is about 4 years old now. We came up with it around about 2016. We now have over 200 of these in China. And it is a supermarket with restaurants, with the kind of live fish tanks that Chinese consumers really love to get their fish and their shellfish from. But what's I think really interesting about it is you couldn't really say it was online or offline. If you go around and do a shop, as you or I would go to a supermarket and do a shop, you will do it using the app. You'll scan products, pick them off the shelf, scan the product, put it in your basket. When you get to the checkout, you will just scan your phone at the checkout and walk out with your goods. So it's a pretty straightforward experience. Digital, you have rich information about product, but it's quite similar to some of the more advanced supermarket experiences we have here. For me, the difference comes next week When you're at home and you think, well, actually, I want more or less the same shop, but I don't have time to go to the supermarket, or I don't want to go to the supermarket. What you do then is you open up the app. You could find your last week's shop, or you could do a completely different shop within the app. And what will happen at that moment, the moment you click buy, is that in your nearest Fresh Hippo store, one of my colleagues will walk around the store, do the shop for you, picking the goods off the shelf, put them in a basket. It will pass to the back of the store, basically through this kind of like ceiling supported travelator, go to a delivery driver at the back of the store. And this is the critical thing. You know, I'm probably going to be with you about half an hour today. If I'd have done my Fresh Hippo shop at the start of beginning to talk to you, by the time we'd finished Q&A, I would have got my shopping delivered to me, to my door, right? We will deliver within half an hour from your nearest store. And we're able to do that partly because we've got a great delivery fleet, but partly because we're digitizing the whole experience. We're using the store as a warehouse. We have perfect view of inventory. So we're not going to try and sell you something if we don't have it on the store shelf. If there's something we know you really like and we don't have it in stock, we'll be able to recommend you something similar. And what we're able to do, therefore, is give you a personalized shopping experience. You're never going to have that experience of us saying, oh, sorry, this thing you put in your basket, actually, we don't have it in stock. It's incredibly fast, but also we have this view of you across online and offline, which means the next time you come into store, we're also going to make recommendations to you. And so it's really bringing the best of online and offline together. And we're doing that not just in Fresh Hippo, but throughout all of our thinking today about retail is how do we bring the best of those worlds together. So that was what I wanted to share with you. I may have gone slightly over time, and if so, I apologize. It's a lot to talk about, but hopefully it's given you a sense of how we're thinking about the world, how we're thinking about the pandemic, and particularly how we're thinking, how do we make digital a bit better? Right? How do we really bring the richness of digital to consumers? So thanks very much.